aren't we lucky to have the sun? The sun just sits there in the sky and we pirouette around it, basking in its rays, sucking up all its energy. And we have solar panels now. Perfect. Not only do we get sunny days, but we get a constant stream of electricity so that we can close the curtains and play Minecraft all day. Now, the issue with solar power is that at the moment we're not totally efficient at harnessing all that energy, being as we have a lot of cloud cover, especially here in the UK and in Europe. But what if you could put the solar panel above the clouds? That is exactly the idea that the European Space Agency have come up with. Composed of 22 member states, including the UK, the European Space Agency is very much like NASA, except that they are based in Europe, they have better croissants and more berets. The idea is to build a space-based solar-powered satellite which will orbit 36,000 kilometers above the Earth's surface, being able to constantly bask in the sun's rays. Quite frankly, I can't think of anything worse than having to be subjected to the sun with nowhere to go. Maybe that could be a form of renewable energy, just ginger people running from sunlight. This satellite would be comprised of many solar panels that would be able to absorb so much more energy from the sun, unhampered by things like clouds. You have to really ask yourself, what is holding back the human race? And my answer to that would be clouds. Personally, I am on a cloud-free diet. I have been cloud-free since 2017. The European Space Agency planned to harness all this energy from the sun and then beam it down to Earth wirelessly. So they want to put the solar panel in space to harness the energy which would be lost through the air and clouds, only to beam that energy down to Earth through the same air and clouds. Just call it cloud punch laser. Hello Solaris, how can I help you? We do vaporize clouds for a small fee. What event do you have coming up, madam? A barbecue! Ah, lovely. And what country will you be in? Well, you could say we are a tanning salon, oui. What if a plane flies through the beam? Like, you're not allowed to have your phone on in case it interferes with navigation systems. And suddenly the whole plane flies through a beam that has enough energy to power Luxembourg. This has been a concept around for quite a while. It even featured in the Bond film Diamonds Are Forever, where there is a huge satellite floating around in the sky which can shoot a laser down to Earth. It's interesting that they're definitely using the word beam and not laser. Nobody's going to give us billions of euros to put a laser in the sky. Are you kidding? A laser pointing at Earth? No. It's a beam. You can have a beaming smile. That's what we're going to put in the sky. A big beaming satellite smile. Lasers slice off bits of your eyeballs. Lasers remove tattoos. Lasers burn. What about teleportation? Like when they were hacking people into a trillion bits to send them wirelessly through space, they never said, "Laser me down, Scotty." Laser teleportation? Get anywhere in space and free hair removal. Does it really have to be beamed? Can't there just be a load of batteries that are constantly recharged and taken down to Earth by a bunch of space dads? So this ESA satellite would move in geosynchronous orbit. That means it stays above the same place on the Earth and everybody gets to wear a matching swimming cap. Sending transmissions through clouds is nothing new. Every time I want to send my husband a cat gift, that cat has to travel from my phone through the clouds to a satellite, back down through the clouds, and hits his phone even though he's sat next to me. It would be nothing new, but the size of my transmitter is my mobile phone. The size of the receiver on the ground is my husband's mobile phone. So this satellite, in order to generate 2 gigawatts of energy, which is about enough that a nuclear reactor would produce to power a town or maybe one casino in Vegas, it needs to be 1.7 kilometers long. It's going to be very, very visible in the sky. It would look like a moon, and it would be there all the time and constantly lit. Solaris, 24-hour party people! Some of these countries that may be able to see this object in their sky space are not going to get any of the electricity. Why don't you just make it in the shape of a giant hand with the middle finger up? This satellite will take up a significant amount of space real estate, but at the moment there aren't really any laws that govern who can build what where in space. The Chinese are already building their own space-based solar power satellite, although theirs also has a lot of cameras and listening devices, and a megaphone.
我们不是在看着你，去处理你的日常事务。
Do you remember the walkie-scorchie? I do. It's where my husband proposed. It's built in a concave shape. And when they opened the walkie-talkie, what they didn't realise was that the building focused the sun's rays into a beam. And this beam hit a car opposite and melted it. It also set fire to a bookshop. And so they had to suddenly scramble all the architects and put a net over the walkie-talkie, which got the nickname the walkie-scorchie. That building was only 160 meters high. This satellite will be 1.7 kilometers wide. If the sun catches that satellite in a funny way and it focuses the beams down to Earth, we're going to have a real ants under a magnifying glass scenario. Bonjour, Mission Control. Quoi? No, navigation's fine. We had a little knock earlier. What do you mean we're off target? What ice caps? Focusing a hot light at our planet is kind of the opposite of what we want to be achieving right now, isn't it? Isn't that kind of working against the whole climate change, net zero thing? You know what's really stopping net zero? It's the climate. So our idea, perhaps we get rid of the climate. No more climate change. You're welcome. According to some glossy brochures, executive summaries, that the ESA had commissioned by Fraser Nash and Roland Berger. Roland Berger, typical middle management consultants. They don't necessarily actually make anything, but they're very good at telling other people what to do. Fraser Nash, who are weapons manufacturers. Engineering specialists. The receiver on the ground would need to be 71 kilometers squared. Just to put that into context, that is a third of Amsterdam, a half of Seville, or an entire Kingston upon Hull. Both brochures have fabulous diagrams, and they show that there is significant spillage around the target. Receptor site? I don't know how they're going to persuade people to let them build a receptor site that's a fifth of the size of the Isle of Wight. It really does take forever to get planning permission in the UK. There's a lot of NIMBYs, even when the area is definitely going to be improved by the building. Well, this used to be a disused field where people would come dogging. Now look at it. I remember when this was just all burnt out stolen cars. In order for them to complete this project, they're asking for a budget of anywhere between 17.9 billion and 68 billion euros. But part of that budget is based on somebody else inventing stuff. Well, it'll be cheap if somebody works out a way to do it. Yes, it will. Oh, the budget for the European Space Agency last year was 7.19 billion euros. Yeah. The only reason why they're saying it's possible now is because thanks to SpaceX, Elon Musk and other people who are trying to develop reusable rockets, the cost of space travel has decreased. Some people think we are jumping on some kind of trendy bandwagon. You know, net zero, climate change. These are all very big things right now. And you're leveraging these buzzwords to get bigger funding. No, nothing could be farther from the truth. No, we very much believe in building a space-based, solar-powered, gender-neutral satellite. If you haven't decided on the pronouns yet, it's probably going to be Caesar. I think as soon as they start running out of money, they're going to put sponsorship on that thing. Welcome to Solaris, the European Space Agency power cell, sponsored by Pepsi. How can I put some fizz in your step today? This is not the green energy project that they're trying to sell it as. In order to build this space-based solar-powered satellite, they'll need to scoop all the materials out of the ground. They'll need to transport those materials. Then there'll be a lot of manufacturing, there'll be a lot of emissions, and finally, when they've got all of this complete, they still have to take off and transport all these items into space to assemble it. Let's remember that the European Space Agency consulted Fraser-Nash. They are not known for their renewable energy endeavours. They are known for their space defence and weapons. Oh, we were intrigued by the other things that they were coming up with, you know, for climate change, renewable energy. They came up with a turbine that is powered by a pistol that fires multiple projectiles. No, of course it couldn't be used as a weapon. Oh, but that particular design was an AK-47 in front of a fan. Now you may be thinking, but isn't an AK-47 a weapon already? Not in this context, it's not. Call me a conspiracy theorist if you like, but I think the Europeans are pooling their money together and they're proposing to build their own Death Star, hiding it, of course, under the banner of renewable energy. If Putin gets wind of this, he's definitely going to take pot shots and shoot that thing out of the sky. Putin was at State Fair when explosion happened. Putin won all of the bears. Putin then wrestled the bears. He won. The International Space Station is going to be decommissioned in 2030, 2031. And by decommissioned, they mean they're going to thrust it into the sea. Although it will make a spectacular fish tank, I can't help feeling that the European Space Agency should be building a new space station, and that is where their focus should lie. Why aren't we building a couple of international space stations, one outside Earth's orbit, one outside the Moon's orbit, one outside Mars's orbit? You see where I'm going? So you can go on your little trip, stop for a pasty, stop for a poo, maybe you'll get an ice cream. Lovely trip through space. Rather than build on all the science and technology that we've experimented and created up until now, let's throw all of that out of the window and make a great big space laser. It's not in the works yet, but the Ministerial Council of the ESA have until 2025 to decide whether to give it the green light. Will that green light be powered by the sun? Thank you for watching my video. I hope it put a little bit of sunshine into your day. Please let me know down below what you think of the Solaris project. Whether you think it's a great idea or do you think that it's insane? Please hit the like button and please hit subscribe. I have a lot of videos on my channel and I'd love it if you have a peruse through and you find something you enjoy. Please follow me on my social media, and can I just say a massive thank you to everybody who donated to me on PayPal. I get all your emails, I get all your letters, and I really appreciate it. Until next time, take care. Bye. This space-based solar-powered satellite is all about the mental health of the planet. I mean, isn't that really what we all want? A gender-neutral satellite that worries about your mental health. If you don't want to fund that, I'd really question whether you're racist.